You're an executive chef. Let's say you want to make the biggest impact possible in that next 90 days. What would you say if I told you that in 90 days you could establish yourself as the chef that the ownership and your board is going to trust for years to come, instead of being the next name on the chefs we burned through list? In this video, I'm going to give you an exact 90-day playbook for a new executive chef, either in the role or in the kitchen. By the end, you'll have a week-by-week plan you can literally put on your calendar tomorrow and start executing the next day. Now, I'm Gerald Ford, certified master chef. I've been in leadership roles in hotels, restaurants, and private club kitchens for several decades. And now I work with executive chefs all over the world to build kitchens that run consistently because of the process beyond the food. Here's the mistake I see constantly. New chefs walk in trying to prove themselves with great menus, awesome specials, and hero-style services, instead of looking, listening, stabilizing, and then establishing structure. They never develop trust with the team. The board or the ownership doesn't develop confidence in the chef. And pretty soon, those same people are quietly searching for your replacement. Now, on the other hand, there's chefs who win confidence and trust fast. Those chefs all have the same traits. They can lead and they can communicate. They can clean and organize. They have a clear standard they can communicate. And they don't just talk about it, they show what it looks like, and they do the work to teach the team how they want it done. Those chefs become irreplaceable. Even if ownership changes and someone wants to bring in their own person, the operation is so stable and trust is so high that replacing that chef is the obviously bad move. This 90-day plan is how you start becoming that chef. We're going to walk through 3 phases. As I go, I recommend that you diagnose yourself. Now, let's get into it. Phase 1 is look, listen, learn, and clean. We should always seek first to understand and then be understood. Now let's break down those pieces. First, look. Use your eyes. What do you see? What happens? What works? What doesn't? Literally, take a moment and look around. Walk every space. Main kitchen, outlets, banquets, garde-manger, pastry, dish, storage, receiving, caf. In the walk-ins, labeled, orderly, are they dirty? On the stations, are they set every day at the same time, or is it a reinvention every single day? Team's body language, is it tense? Is it serious? Are they checked out? You're collecting visible evidence before you buy anyone's story or dig deeper. Your diagnostic questions here? If I had to describe this kitchen in 3 words, just from looking, what would they be? What's the first unsafe or embarrassing thing that you'd be ashamed for your mentor to see? I can feel that. I think back to places that I was ashamed of. Next, listen. Open up your ears. Ask questions and invite people to talk. From the general manager or from the owner, what's working, what's broken, what do you need from your chef that you're not getting? From your SOPs and CDPs, who's strong on the team? What are we missing? What's broken? From your line cooks or your stewards. Guys, what pisses you off every day? Try learning how they experience the kitchen. And that leads us right down to the next piece, learn. Because when you get into the guts of it, that's what you're going to take away here. Look at your last 3 months of P&L, food cost, labor, cover counts. Seriously review ordering, scheduling, and stock item lists. Work a few services a little bit differently than you might usually on different stations with the team, not as the hero, but as an extra set of hands, helping, watching, observing. Put yourself in the situation so that you can learn and see and hear. See how communication and standards play out or don't. Your diagnostic question? Can I explain in 1 page how this operation really runs today? Then, clean. Often, the lowest hanging fruit is a good deep clean. Nothing sets the tone like a great deep clean. Nothing resets the mind like a great deep clean. Dried food on walls, disgusting corners, that moldy lime that's under the shelf. Bust out or purchase the pressure washer. Get some fresh mop heads, ton of kitchen towels, and get into the cleaning with the whole team. Break down the stove all the way. Degrease hoods, scrub the drain pipes on sinks. Yeah, I did just say that. Polish copper if it's there. Then introduce or revise 1 simple habit, a cleaning checklist. General is fine at this stage, but by area is definitely better. The goal in phase 1 is simple, learn and clean. And if you're in the first month and already feel like you're drowning, I put together a free 90-day kitchen reset for executive chefs. It's a starter kit that I use with clients that plugs straight into this phases 1, 2, and 3. It's got a 10-minute daily debrief script, a template to start your standards, and a couple basic checklists that can get you started. If you want a ready-made structure to go with the video, the link's below. You can grab it now and then you can keep watching. Phase 2, stabilize, set standards, and leverage your past work. Take what you saw in phase 1 and let's turn it into predictable behaviors. Don't worry, there's no need to start from zero here. First, stabilize with simple rhythms. Lock in 2 essential habits. 1, pre-service huddle, every shift, and cover 5 key points. There. Next, a short post-service debrief at least 2 times a week. Covering that. Don't get fancy. The win here is consistency, or reinvigorated consistency. Templates in the download, so let's move on. Diagnostic questions here. Can my team tell me when huddle happens every single day without looking? Do we have any rhythm at all, or are we just kind of bouncing around from feedback? Next, set and post your standards. This is where you make this is how we do it here real. Finalize those 7 non-negotiables for your safety and cleanliness, readiness, respect, consistency, coachability. Put them in writing and post them in the kitchen, your walk-in, in your office, and then give one to each of your team in a plastic cover and have them add it to their binders. Then run a 21-minute all-hands meeting and go over each one. 3 minutes per. Explain each one, why it matters, and what happens when it's ignored. Now, when something goes wrong, you're not arguing feelings. You can be hard on the problem and soft on the person. You're pointing out standards and where they were neglected and what the outcome was. Diagnostic question: if I asked any random cook, what are this kitchen's non-negotiables? Could they answer that? Next, leverage your past work and all the checklists you've had in the past. If you've been doing this for a while, you already have systems that worked somewhere else. You've worked for somebody who had systems that worked to some degree. Prep sheets that made sense. If you have them, try using ChatGPT to rewrite and update. Opening and closing checklists. General's fine. Over time, get more specific. Training steps for new cooks. It's almost always the same. Don't reinvent anything from scratch. Pull the best of what you used before for this property, SKUs, cover counts, menu items, and put it into play. One line you can literally say to yourself: I paid for that experience with my time and my stress before. Let's make it do more work. Your diagnostic question, if you need it: what's one checklist or system from a past kitchen that you've worked that you haven't worked into your system where you're at? And if you have nothing, if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't have a single decent checklist or SOP to pull from, that doesn't make you a bad chef. It just means you've been surviving on skill and hustle, and it doesn't have to be that way. In that case, don't spend the next year trying to invent structure from zero when you have some time. Use the link below, download that starter pack that I was talking about with those core checklists. And if you'd like, you can schedule a quick call with me and I'll walk you through where to start and you get a foundation to build on. That's literally what I do in Beyond the Food and with chefs every single day. I'll give you a working model so you're not guessing alone. And now we'll pick right back up and finish off with phase 3, which is to teach, reinforce, and tighten. First, quick reality check. Transitioning from firefighter to an architect is not a 30-day project. It's not even a 90-day project. For a lot of chefs, it takes years. I've seen people stay in permanent firefighter mode for 5 or 10 years. Some never even leave it at all. They just keep muscling through day after day and calling that the job. The difference, in my opinion, is exposure. If you've never seen what a structured kitchen looks like, you don't know what it feels like. If you've never got shown simple systems that work, and you're stuck figuring it out, that's the life you live, with trial and error between services. And if you've never seen different, you'll never know any better. That's what I'm here to show you. Phase 3 isn't you're done. Phase 3 is you've got some basic systems and standards in place. Now you're gonna teach them, reinforce them, and slowly tighten consistency and accountability. You'll still be at the pass. You're still gonna be putting out fires, but the win is fewer fires and smaller fires. All right, so let's pick up here with teaching deliberately. Don't assume, since we posted it once, the team knows it. Try running in 10 or 15 minute teaching blocks with one person a day. Walk a station lead through their checklist. Here's how it looks. Here's why it's in this order. This is why we do this. Or demo a process. All right, watch me do it. Here's how we do it. See how we did this, taste it. All right, now you show me. And repeat until it's beyond boring, because boring is the goal. We need to practice until we can't get it wrong. Your diagnostic question: who besides me can actually run a proper huddle or a debrief? Next, start with simple accountability to reinforce. Accountability. It's checking the same simple things every day and following through. It's really boring, but that's exactly what we're supposed to do as managers. Checklists that get initialed, not just exist, they work. 2 daily spot checks to make. Show me your station against the readiness standard. Pull me 1 plate out of our highest volume dish to spec and observe. Use a weekly scorecard or give your sous chefs one. Prep lists, hit or miss, day by day. Huddles, done or not, day by day. Standard deviations this week, open conversation. Your diagnostic questions, what do we actually check every single day? Does anything not to standard consistently happen with 0 follow-up? Well, if there's no consequence, you're missing leverage and motivation. The third piece here, incrementally improve consistency. In 60 to 90 days, you're off and running, moving in the right direction. Pick 1 or 2 simple metrics to continually follow and focus on. Delayed ticket times, complaints in a key outlet, percent of checklists completed, and then set a realistic goal. Let's reduce late plates by 10 to 20% over the next month. Use your daily debrief. Where did the system hold? Where did it break? What are we changing for tomorrow? It's up to you to teach the kitchen to run the play, not survive the day. Let's zoom out and diagnose where you actually are. Phase 1, look, listen, learn, and clean. Do you truly understand how your kitchen runs today? And have you cleaned up the worst of the chaos? Or are you still guessing and stepping over the mess every shift? Phase 2, do you have basic rhythms in place, posted non-negotiables, and a few simple checklists that come from your best past experience? Or is everything still living in your head? Phase 3, are you actively teaching the systems, checking them, and seeing consistency slowly improve? Even if you're still fighting some fires, or are you hoping people get it without ever really training or following up? Be honest with yourself. That's the whole point of the diagnostic. Zero judgment for me. So here's what you do next. And here's the part that most chefs skip. No matter what phase you're in, the next move is to run a small reset and go back through the 3 phases on purpose. Every kitchen, every chef, myself included, benefits from stepping back, looking with fresh eyes, cleaning hard, and asking what's actually working and what isn't. So your practical next step, run a 30-day reset. Starting at phase 1, pick a day in the kitchen, do a real walkthrough and a proper deep clean with the team. Answer the phase 1 question on paper. What do I see? What's the most embarrassing thing in this kitchen and how does this place really run? 2, from what you see, choose 1 phase 2 action. Maybe it's posting your 7 non-negotiables or revising them. Maybe it's starting a real pre-service huddle. Maybe it's pulling 1 old checklist from your past and revising. Then 3, choose 1 phase 3 action. Teach 1 system. Start checking 1 thing. Aim for a small, measurable improvement in consistency over the next 30 days. Nobody can fix a kitchen in their head. No one can see a standard you've never taught. You fix it by cleaning, looking, and installing 1 behavior at a time and showing the team how the work gets done. If you want help structuring that reset, grab the 90-day kitchen reset for executive chefs at the link below. It's designed to plug straight into these 3 phases so you're not starting from blank page. And if you're an executive chef, culinary director, or general manager, and use the other link to apply for a call. We'll look at your current operation against a 90-day map and see if it makes sense to work together. Regardless of where you are right now, every one of us can use a reset and a clean. Now, if this helped you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below if you have any questions or thoughts, and then let's get your first rep in becoming a chef that's trustworthy for the team and builds confidence in the ownership. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.